Welcome back, my students. Happy New Year! I hope this year is treating you well so far. Today, I'm going to be discussing 20 very important grammar rules that you should know. And this video is time-stamped, and that means you can go to the description box below and click on the rule or rules that you don't know, and you can skip ahead. Some rules you may already know, but there might be some new ones. So let's start with rule number 1. The first rule is a basic one. When you write a sentence, the very first letter should be a capital letter, and at the end of the sentence, you must have a punctuation mark, a period or full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation point. Now, I've done a video on punctuation, and if you go to the description box below, you will see that video link. Okay, here are some examples. The cute dog is on the sofa. You can say sofa or couch. The cute dog is on the couch. Where do they live? My dogs are very funny. Rule number 2. The order of a basic sentence is subject, verb, object. Now, keep in mind, negative and question sentences may have a different order. Let's look at some examples. They were walking their dogs to the park. They were walking their dogs to the park. Rule number 3. Every sentence must have a subject and a verb. An object is optional. But you should know that an imperative sentence may have a verb only, but the subject is understood. For example, stop! Now, if you hear the word stop, you're going to stop, I hope. So you assume that that imperative is for you. Now, a subject would be Ellie, and the verb would be teaches. Ellie teaches. We don't need to know the subject, but it could be helpful. Ellie teaches English. Both of these sentences are correct. Rule number 4. The subject and verb must agree in number. That is, a singular object needs a singular verb, and a plural object needs a plural verb. Here are some examples. Tim works in Paris. Tim works. Tim is a he, and he works. That bird eats from the bird feeder. Bird eats. The bird is an it. It eats. John and Mary work at the mall. They work. Not they works. They work. Rule number 5. When two singular subjects are connected by or, they use a single verb. And that's same with either, or, neither, nor. Let's look at some examples. John or Mary is working tonight. We use is. I know that there are two names there, John and Mary, but it's only one that is needed at work. So John or Mary is working tonight. That's why we use an is here, because it's not a they. Either coffee or tea is fine. Not are fine. because I'm using or. That's a choice. Do you like coffee or tea? I like both. I think I prefer tea. Let's look at one with neither. Neither Tom nor Monica. Did you hear that? It's nor. Neither Tom nor Monica was late. Again, we're talking about them individually as one person. Neither Tom nor Monica was late. Rule number 6. Adjectives usually come before a noun. The exception is when a verb separates the adjective from the noun. Blah, blah, blah. Let's look at some examples. I have a small dog. The adjective is small. I have a small dog, not a dog small, no. She has a cute cat. What about that exception? I know, I hear you asking. So the exception is the possessive. Her cat is sweet. Her house is cute. His dog is small. You're using a possessive, not the person or the person's name. It's his dog, her cat. Number 7 is also a rule on adjectives. And I've done videos on adjectives, so make sure you go to that description box to click on the links. So number 7 says, when using 2 or more adjectives together, the usual order is opinion, adjective, and then fact adjective, and then a noun. There are some additional rules for the order of fact adjectives, but we're going to focus on the opinion adjective and the fact adjective, plus a noun. That was an amazing jazz band. Amazing, that's the adjective, and jazz is the type of band, and band is the noun. So first was the opinion. I thought it was amazing. I love jazz music. Do you? If you said no, then you know that this is my opinion, not yours. And the fact is, it was a jazz band. That's a fact. Oh, number 8 has two rules in one. One for British English and, of course, one for American English. You see, when you have a collective, like a group or a committee, we say it as a whole thing. We would say, the committee is having lunch in the conference room. We would say, the committee is having lunch. But British English uses it as a plural. The committee are having lunch. And that can be confusing. So, depending on who you're writing for, if you're writing for someone that's from Britain or uses British English, you're going to use are. But as a collective group, you should say is, not are. Number 9 are 3 words. It's, and its. You see, the cat hurt its leg. There's no apostrophe there. That little mark there is called an apostrophe. And there are no apostrophes in the word its. This means it's either a male or a female cat. We don't know. And when you don't know if it's a boy or a girl or a man or a woman, you can say it's, no apostrophe. Now, the other its is it is. That's called a contraction. And I've done a video on contractions. So for example, he says it's 3 o'clock. He says it's 3 o'clock. You can also use its as it has. You have to be careful because its and its both use that apostrophe. You have to look at the sentence or think about the words. It's got 3 legs. It's got. So you're breaking it down as it has got 3 legs. Isn't English fun? Now number 10 and number 11 I've done videos on. And number 10 is that your and your have 3 different meanings. So make sure you watch that video. And number 11 is their, and their. Go to those videos. Now number 12 is also about contractions, and it's he's and she's and it's. It's the same thing. It has, she has, or it is, it has. Same idea. Sometimes it's is and sometimes it's has. I've posted a link for a video on that as well. But let's look at some sentences. He is working. He's working. She has finished. She's finished. Number 13 is also another contraction. He'd, she'd, right? He'd could be he had, or it could mean would. He would. She had or she would. You have to listen to the context of the sentence. Now, I've done a video on that as well, but let's look at some examples. He had already eaten when I got home. He'd already eaten when I got home. He would study more if possible. He'd study more if possible. They had already left. They'd already left. They would come if they could. They'd come if they could. 14 is an easy one. It's about spelling. Oh, the joys of spelling. Proper names need a capital letter, and names of anything needs a capital letter. So be careful with countries and months, especially months. Those are names of months. They need a capital. For example, we have talked to Mary. We have talked to Mary. Is China in Asia? Yes, it is. Do you speak English? Okay, so let's be careful with those proper nouns, okay? So 15 is pretty much the same thing. A proper adjective made from proper nouns like German, Germany, France, French, and so on. 16 and 17, I've also done videos for these. 16 is infinitive article, and the. And of course, 17 talks about and an. When do you say and when do you say an? And it's just based on vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U. So make sure you check out those 2 videos on articles. It's 1 video on articles. I only did 1. I don't know why I said 2, but only 1. 18 is on quantifiers. Use many or few with countable nouns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, countable, and use much, a lot, or little for uncountable nouns, things that you can't count, like hair. I mean, seriously, how many strands of hair do I have? Really, how many? Tell me. I've always wanted to know. Tell me. Let's look at a few examples. How many dogs do you have? How much money do you have? There are a few people waiting. There is a little problem with my computer. So be careful with using those. Number 19 is possessive. That's right. To show something belongs to you or someone else, it's their possession, right? And who owns it? And we need a, yeah, that's right, another apostrophe. Apostrophe S. So, for example, we could say, the boy's dog ran away. That's one boy, it's his dog, apostrophe S. But what if it's two boys and one dog? We have to move that apostrophe. That's right, we have to move it to the end to say boys, meaning more than one, and put the apostrophe on the end. Did you know we also do this if your name ends in S? We don't add another S. So, for example, Luis. We say Luis's dog, Luis's cat. We say that S, but when we write it, we don't put an extra S on the end. It's not really necessary. Some people do. You might see it. Some people do. It's not terribly wrong. It's just not necessary. So if your name ends in S, you don't need an S at the end, but you still need that apostrophe. Number 20, the last one. Now the last one is about active and passive voice. And we use active voice. For example, cats eat fish. Simple enough, simple sentence. It's active. I'm telling you, cats eat fish. But if we use passive voice, we say fish are eaten by cats. Yeah. But normally we speak in active voice. We don't really use passive voice. But I'm going to do a video on active and passive voice so that you can learn when to use active and when to use passive. And I'll do that next week. And don't forget to look in the description box below for the links, or you might like one of these videos, or maybe both. So check it out. Thanks for watching. Until next time, please keep practicing. Bye.